Is anybody still working on the entrance ticket? So the first question on the entrance ticket says if x is equal to -2, then x plus 4 equals what? What do we do for this here? Plug in -2 where the x is at. So if we were to type this into the calculator, I would type it in as parentheses, -2, close parentheses, plus 4. I would put the parentheses around the -2 or +2. I just put parentheses around it just to be safe. We can plug it in, and it's going to tell us that the correct answer is 2. Is -2. Would be +2, because -2 plus 4, or 4 minus 2, is going to be 2. The second question, when x is equal to 3, what's the value of x squared minus 4? So we would put parentheses 3 squared minus 4. Well, 3 squared is, and 9 minus 4 is. So the correct answer is 5. Now, especially on a problem like this here, putting the parentheses around the 3 would be important. Now, for 3, it's not a big deal, but if it had been -3, then we definitely need those parentheses. Because without them, the calculator is going to say it's -3 times 3, not -3 times -3. We need the parentheses if it's negative. Even if it's not negative, we still get the same answer putting those there. So a lot of the times when you're plugging numbers in, it's better off to put the parentheses and not need it than not put them on a case where you do need them. So I just go on and put them every single time. What is the value of the expression 2x squared plus x if x is 3? Well, what are we doing? We're plugging 3 in for x. So we'd have 2 parentheses 3 squared plus parentheses 3 close parentheses. So every time I put x in, I always put parentheses around it. And at this point, we can plug the whole thing in. If we do it by hand, well, 3 squared is 9 plus 3. Well, 2 times 9 is 18, and 18 plus 3 is 21. So the correct answer is C. Learning targets, using substitution, correctly adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing negative numbers. Correctly use the order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Have you all ever heard of this here? Yes. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction from left to right. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction from left to right. And really they are rephrasing this into, well, let me write. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division are 1. Because we multiply and divide from left to right. Whatever appears as we're going across from left to right, we will do that operation with multiplication and division at the same time, and then addition and subtraction next. Or if we're wanting to make sure we can do it right and have a calculator, might as well just plug it in. So if we look at this here, if x equals 6, what's the value of 2 times x squared minus 11x? Well, I would type it in as 2, parentheses, 6, close parentheses, squared, minus 11 times 6. And we could use order operations, or we can just plug this thing in just as we see it here. Because we can type the whole thing in, and if we type it in, it'll tell us it's 6. Because especially on a test like this here, trying to remember all the steps and make sure we do it right, well, heck, if the calculator will do it, might as well just plug it in. Any questions on this here? Well, what is the value of of the expression this here, x times x plus 3 squared if x is equal to 2. Well, going across, well, the first x we can just write as 2 in parentheses. Parentheses. 2 plus 3, close parentheses, squared. So each time I replaced x, I just went on and put parentheses around it. Because if it's positive or negative, it really doesn't matter. If we have the parentheses there, it works out a little bit better. Because the real case where we absolutely need them is if it's negative. Because if we have subtracting a negative or a negative multiplied by a negative, it gets a little tricky. So having the parentheses there does help. But if we type this in, we get 50. Y'all agree with that? All right. Same thing here. Now this is the real one where we do need parentheses. Because if we were to type this in as negative 5 squared plus 1 and negative 5 squared minus 1. Because if I type it in like this here, I will get the wrong answer. Because what the calculator will think this is negative 5 squared would be negative 25 plus 1. And negative 5 squared would be negative 25 minus 1. Well, negative 25 plus 1 would be negative 24. Negative 25 minus 1 would be negative 26. Well, the negative and negative would make a positive. And we do have a greatest common factor of 2, which would be positive 12/13. And you got something different, yes? Yeah. Okay. Mode math print. Yeah, if it won't do the fraction key, if you go mode and it says math print, that'll fix it. Because what is wrong here is that we need the parentheses around the negative 5 because we're saying we're multiplying negative 5 by itself, yes? Without the parentheses, the calculator doesn't see it as negative 5 times 5. It sees it as negative, parentheses 5 times 5. And we'll apply the negative back to it. So it gave us positive 12/13. Well, if we use the parentheses this time, it'll tell us that it's 25 plus 1 over 25 minus 1, which is 26 over 24, which will tell us that it is 13/12. So not D, but it is E. So the way I worked it through the first time was if we did not put those parentheses there, what the calculator would have told you. The calculator would have given you D, not E. There's a reason they put answer choice D on the test. It's because they know that is a common error to not put the parentheses around the negative 5 and just square it like I had written first. So they will put that there. They do like to do that. They will put the common error answers in there just to see, because if you did it that way, it shows up. Any other questions on this here? Because the negative paranoia we should be good with, because it's just saying, don't forget about the negative sign. Does that mean we can plug these, any of these into the calculator? Because the calculator will do it for us. Okay. That's really it, isn't it? I think there's 3 negative paranoia questions, and that's about it. Yep, okay, let's look at the practice sets. If A is equal to 0.3 and B is equal to 0.9, then A squared times B squared is what? Well, to do this, we can say 0.3 squared times 0.9 squared. Plug it in. Because if we type this in, we should get 0.09 times 0.81, which is 0. We'd have 9, and then 72. 1, 2, 3. This. So the correct answer is A. Any questions on number 1? We good with number 1? Yes. Okay. Question number 2, what is the value of the expression 2c times c plus 3 squared? Well, we're going to say when c is 2. Well, we can say 2 times 2 for our 2c parenthesis. Well, c is 2 plus 3 squared. So at this point here, we can just type this straight into the calculator and be done. If we do it by hand, well, 2 times 2 is 4. Here, well, we just have 2 plus 3 is squared. Well, 5 squared is 25, and 4 times 25 is. So the correct answer is okay. Now we could deal with other variables. We can have x, y, z. We can plug multiple numbers in. But is it really changing anything? Not really, right? It's still the same thing. Because even on a problem like this here, well, we do 2 parentheses, 1 over 1/3 minus 1 over 1/4. And we could just type that into the calculator, yes? And it would give us the answer, which I believe it's -2. That's it. Points 3 through 15. Odd. Homework 4 through 14. Even. Because that's it. The rest of it's just plugging it in and getting the answer. I don't think we need to do any more than that. So go on and grab a calculator, work on it. If you have questions, please let me know. I can come around and help. Yep. Yeah. Because the only 2 we did in class is 1 and 2. And I